Hello, friends, it's me, Sheriff Labrador, and today we have a special episode for you.
Hi, everyone. Yes, Sheriff Labrador, I'm already excited.
Together with my loyal partner, Sheriff Dobie, we're going to tell you about the most beautiful and challenging mode in Roblox, Escape the Carnival of Horrors OBBY. This mode is simply incredible.
You find yourself in a mysterious and eerie carnival, full of dangers and unexpected twists.
Let's start from the beginning. As soon as you enter the game, you're greeted by a creepy carnival, dimly lit by lanterns. Dangerous traps and evil ghost clowns patrolling the area are scattered everywhere. Your task is to avoid them at all costs.
Exactly. Do you see that red balloon? We need to follow it. In the first stage, you have to be very careful and quick to avoid getting caught by the clowns. I recommend watching your steps closely to avoid traps.
Yes, and that's just the beginning. This clown world is huge, and I think we'll be fighting this clown today. By the way, do you know the name of this clown? Write it in the comments, and whoever guesses correctly will get a heart from us on their comment.
But inside, it's full of dangerous mechanisms. You must be very attentive and keep moving to avoid getting caught in the traps.
We need to get through these rusty pipes. The main thing is not to touch the fire or fall down. We can't forget about the final part, escaping through the horror ride. This is the most challenging part, where you'll have to use all your skills and agility to reach the exit.
Friends, this mode is truly amazing. It's not only difficult, but incredibly beautiful. We are sure you'll love it. Right now, we are in the heart of the Carnival of Horrors, in the clown's house. Just look at this grim place. We need to parkour through old, smelly pipes with a bottomless pit below us.
Yes, it's really scary. The smelly pipes are not only a test of our agility, but also a real endurance test. The smell is disgusting, but we need to focus and move forward.
Watch your step, Sheriff Labrador. If we slip, we'll fall into that bottomless pit. We must be very careful and watch each step. Let's move slowly and confidently.
Good plan, Sheriff Dobie. Do you see that narrow pipe ahead? We need to jump onto it and then move along the wall. The main thing is not to rush and keep our balance.
Great, I'm ready. Let's go, Labrador. You first. I'll cover you. This is probably one of the most difficult stages in this mode, but we'll manage, right?
Of course, Dobie. We're a team. All right, one jump, then another. Carefully, done. Now it's your turn, Dobie.
Got it. I'm coming. One jump, another. Yes, I did it. Now we need to walk along this narrow pipe. It's slippery, so hold on tight.
Of course, Dobie. We're a team. All right, one jump, then another. Carefully, done. Now it's your turn, Dobie.
Yes, it's a real nightmare. These saws spin so fast that one mistake can cost us our lives. We need to move very carefully and precisely calculate our actions.
Look, Dobie. The saws move in a specific pattern. If you watch closely, you can catch the moment when they stop for a split second. That's when we need to dash through.
I made it too. Can you see me? Wow! Look at this beautiful amusement park. Ferris wheel, roller coasters, and much more.
Now we're escaping from the scariest clown in this carnival. He wants to turn us into his dolls, and we urgently need to find a way to escape. Look ahead. There's a Ferris wheel. It's our chance to get to the top.
The clown is still after us. Let's go, Labrador. We can do this.
Yes, we're at the top. What a view! You can see the whole carnival from here. The clown won't catch us here.
Whew, that was intense. But we did it, Labrador. Now we're safe.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us likes. It's the best gift you can give us. Our animal town has always been a peaceful place. But recently we were shaken by a story connected to the amusement park. The park has always been a popular spot for family outings. However, with the arrival of a new clown, strange incidents began happening. He appeared friendly, but there was always something unusual around him. The townspeople began to complain about odd feelings and missing items. Dobie and I decided to get to the bottom of this.
From the very beginning, we noticed that the clown attracted children, but the parents looked at him with concern. We started the investigation trying to understand what was going on. In the park, we discovered strange traces and heard stories about how the clown was leading children in unknown directions. In the evening, the park closed, but some children didn't return home. Labrador and I decided to stay in the park after closing time to see what was happening.
When it got dark, the park turned into a place of shadows and suspicious sounds. We hid behind carousels and rides, observing what was going on. Soon, we saw the clown leading a group of children. They seemed hypnotized, following him without a single word. We cautiously followed them until they reached an old, abandoned tent that hadn't been used in a long time.
The tent was locked, but somehow the clown managed to open it. We carefully approached, trying not to give ourselves away. When we peeked inside, we saw a stage with bright lights. The clown started his performance, but it wasn't an ordinary show. He used strange tricks and magical illusions that seemed to mesmerize the children. We realized that the clown was using some dark magic to control them.
We decided to act quickly. I distracted the clown, pretending I wanted to see the show up close, while Dobby took the children out of the tent. The clown, noticing our presence, became angry. His face twisted into a malicious grimace, and he tried to stop us. But we were already prepared and knew what to do. We used flashlights to blind him and escorted the children to the park's exit.
We led the children to a safe place and called for backup. The clown tried to escape, but he didn't get far. When our colleagues arrived, we arrested him and started the investigation. It turned out that this clown was a former magician who had lost his job and decided to use his skills for sinister purposes. Thanks to our efforts, the park became a safe place for family outings again. Labrador and I returned to the station, knowing that we had done an important job. We told the townspeople this story so they would know that even in the safest place, dangers can be hiding. But together, we can overcome any difficulties and protect our town.
Recently, a new clown appeared in our town. He was so funny that he immediately became popular. Everywhere he went, people laughed until they cried. He performed street shows, visited people's homes, and entertained both children and adults. Everything seemed fine, but something wasn't right. Dobby and I started noticing that after the clown's visits, people's belongings went missing. At first, it was small things, but each day the number of disappearances grew. We decided to take control of the situation and figure out what was happening.
We began to keep an eye on this clown, but he was so sneaky that none of our observers could catch him in the act. He would go into homes, show his tricks, and everyone seemed to forget what had happened. But as soon as the clown left, valuable items were always missing, from watches to jewelry. Sheriff Labrador suggested we find out what was going on, and soon we were in the middle of an investigation. We decided to set up a trap.
One night, Dobby and I decided to keep an eye on the clown in person. We put on masks and went into one of the houses where the clown frequently showed up. When he arrived, we began to watch his actions closely. At first, everything went as usual. He entertained everyone with his jokes and tricks. But suddenly, during one of his tricks, we noticed his hand quickly slip behind his back and disappear into the host's pocket.
That was the moment of truth. Labrador and I realized that this wasn't just a coincidence. We started watching his hands, and soon we discovered that he was really stealing things while everyone was laughing or distracted by his show. He skillfully used his tricks to secretly take small valuables. We decided to catch him red-handed.
When the clown left, we immediately went to the house to check what had gone missing. And, as strange as it seemed, valuable items had indeed disappeared. We gathered our strength and decided to act. The next day, we met with the clown again, but this time, he didn't know we were preparing to expose him. When he started his new trick, we quietly surrounded him.
The clown tried to avoid us, but we already knew everything. He realized his trick had been uncovered and tried to escape. But Labrador was faster. We caught him, and it turned out that this clown was a master of pickpocketing, using his popularity to steal from trusting townspeople. After we arrested him, it was revealed that he was a thief, hiding behind the mask of a cheerful clown. But now, thanks to us, he would no longer be able to cause trouble in our town.
That's how we exposed this funny clown. He thought he could trick us, but it didn't work out that way. This time, the jokes were over, and now all the town's residents know that we don't joke with anyone who tries to deceive them. Dobby and I are back to patrolling, knowing that even the most amusing incidents can hide dangerous secrets.
When we returned to the station, we told the townspeople how important it is to stay vigilant, even when it seems like everything around is 100% safe. The clown thought his tricks would go on forever, but it turned out differently. Labrador and I are proud that we acted in time, and now the townspeople can laugh again without fear.
Officer Dobby and I are on the roller coaster, and right before us stands a massive carnival city. We're not just here for fun. We're keeping everything under control. But right in front of us, there's that terrifying clown.
Well, friends, the time has come to say goodbye. We hope you enjoyed riding with us on these roller coasters, following our adventures, and of course, staying alert. Until next time, and may your carnivals always be filled with joy, not threats.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to keep an eye on your surroundings, because even in the brightest places, mysteries can be hiding. Friends, Peppa Pig has turned evil and wants to make me just like her. Watch the video until the end to save me. Hello, friends. Today we find ourselves in the most unusual place, the house of Peppa Pig, which has turned into a prison. It's a real nightmare. Peppa and her family have become very mean, and now we have to escape from here.
Yes, Labrador. Hello, everyone. We entered the house and everything looks creepy. Peppa was always a sweet pig, but something has changed her. Now she and her family run this prison. We need to figure out what happened and get out of here.
Peppa used to be just a playful pig, but it seems something has really angered her. Maybe it's because she's tired of the constant attention and noise around her family. Her world has become dark, and now she's trying to trap everyone who enters her house.
I think her anger might be related to feeling lonely and misunderstood. Her house is now full of traps and dangers. We need to be very careful not to fall into one of them.
Our journey will not be easy, but we will definitely make it. The main thing is to stick together and not lose hope. We will find a way to escape and bring Peppa back to her kind self. Guys, have you watched cartoons with Peppa Pig? I watched, and I remember that she was always a very kind pig, but look at what she has become.
With each new room, it gets scarier. Peppa's house is full of secrets and dangers, but we are not giving up. We will definitely find a way out and uncover the mystery of why Peppa and her family have become so mean.
Don't forget, friends, that together we can overcome any difficulties. We will go through all the obstacles and find our way to freedom. Stay with us. This will be an exciting adventure.
Stay close, and we will definitely escape this prison. Our mission is to set everything right and make Peppa's house bright and cheerful again. Onward to adventure.
Perhaps something important awaits us at the end of this journey. Maybe we can find a way to reconcile Peppa with her feelings. But for now, we need to focus on each step, on each challenge. Every success brings us closer to our goal. Do you see how creepy it is here? Guys, like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And with each step, we become stronger. This adventure teaches us that even in the darkest places, light can be found. We will learn to handle any difficulties and always keep moving forward.
Dobby, we've been through a lot, but this challenge is special. We are not just fighting for our freedom, but also for Peppa's freedom. This makes our adventure even more meaningful. This Roblox map reminds me of something. I have a feeling we'll be fighting a Peppa Pig boss at the end, so watch until the end.
We will definitely get out and help Peppa. It's our duty as sheriffs and friends. We will overcome all obstacles and bring peace back to Peppa's house. I can't believe this used to be her home. I watched the cartoons and visited Peppa's house before, and it was completely different. Honestly, I'm very scared, Labrador. I hope the viewers aren't as scared as I am.
A few months ago, Dobby and I decided to visit our friends in the neighboring town. Peppa Pig had invited us to a party in honor of her younger brother George's birthday. We arrived early in the morning and were happy to see the town preparing for the celebration. Bright garlands were hung everywhere, and cheerful music was playing.
At Peppa's house, it was very fun and cozy. The party was in full swing. Children were laughing and playing, and adults were discussing news and enjoying treats. Everything was going great, and no one suspected that unfriendly eyes were watching Peppa's house. Labrador and I didn't notice the suspicious types right away, but our keen sense soon led us to an unpleasant suspicion.
While the guests were having fun in the garden, Dobby and I decided to look around and check if everything was okay. We noticed strange tracks behind the house and realized that someone was planning something bad. A few minutes later, we saw two strangers sneaking towards Peppa's house with the intention of robbing it. They clearly didn't expect to meet us there.
Labrador and I acted quickly and efficiently. While I circled the house from one side, Labrador took up a position on the other. We knew we had to prevent the robbery and protect Peppa and her family. At that moment, the robbers were already trying to break in through the back door, unaware that they were being watched.
When the uninvited guests realized that their plan had been uncovered, they tried to escape. However, we didn't give them that chance. Dobby tackled one of the robbers and pinned him to the ground while I quickly caught up with the second one. Thanks to our quick reaction and coordinated actions, we apprehended both criminals.
Peppa's family was very grateful for our help. We handed the robbers over to the local police and returned to the party. Everything happened so fast that most of the guests didn't even realize what had occurred. The party continued, and everyone was glad that it ended well.
That day showed us how important it is to always be on alert, even in a festive atmosphere. Dobby and I did everything possible to protect our friends and prevent the criminals from ruining the party. We are glad we could help, and once again confirmed that together we are an unbeatable team.
At the end of the day, when we were heading home, we discussed how important it is to always be ready for the unexpected. We are glad that our visit to Peppa ended so well and that we could prevent the robbery. It was another reminder that sheriffs are always on guard, and no matter what happens, we will always come to the rescue. And they also gave us a huge cake.
Not long ago, there was an incident. Could this be why Peppa became angry? Peppa Pig went missing. The whole town was in panic because Peppa is one of the most beloved residents. The locals immediately started spreading the word that she had disappeared without a trace. Dobby and I, of course, couldn't ignore this. We decided we had to help find her. When we arrived in Peppa's town, her family and friends greeted us, and everyone was very worried. Peppa had never left without notice, and leaving her little brother George behind was simply impossible. Everything seemed very strange.
We started by thoroughly examining the house. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. The doors were locked and the windows were intact. But I noticed a strange trail in the grass near the fence. It led into a forest located not far from Peppa's house. Labrador immediately pointed out that this could be an important clue. We decided to follow the trail. The farther we went, the more mysterious the trail became. At first it was clear, but soon it disappeared among the bushes. However, our experienced noses helped us find additional tracks that led to an old shed on the edge of the forest.
When we reached the shed, it was quiet and dark. Dobby and I couldn't understand what might be inside. I peered in and suddenly noticed something moving in the corner. It was something strange, almost like a shadow. We went inside and saw an old cage with Peppa inside. She was sitting there, crying and scared. It turned out she had been kidnapped by local troublemakers who decided to play a prank and hide her to see how everyone would react. They never expected us to be so quick on the trail.
Labrador and I quickly freed Peppa and took her back home. Peppa was shocked, but soon recovered and thanked us for rescuing her. The town was overjoyed when she returned, and all the residents gathered in the main square to congratulate us on the successful operation. The mystery was solved, and the mean troublemakers were punished. In the end, Peppa returned to her cozy life, and everyone was happy again. Labrador and I felt proud of our work, but the most important thing was that we brought Peppa home and restored peace to the town.
Once, some scammers came to our town and started handing out candy to the children. At first glance, everything seemed peaceful, and no one suspected that something dangerous might be behind it. But as soon as children started disappearing, Dobby and I realized that something was wrong. Soon it became clear that the candy was a trap. The scammers were kidnapping children to force them to work in their factories, making them do whatever they were told.
Yes, the situation was very tense. We started investigating, and it turned out that the scammers used a clever device that made the children lose consciousness. After that, they would take them to unknown places, where they were forced to work in a toy factory. Of course, we couldn't allow this, and as soon as we learned what was going on, we immediately took action.
First, we had to find the criminals' hideout. We knew they were hiding somewhere on the outskirts of town, but the exact location was unknown. We followed the trail, questioned a few locals, and found out that strange things were happening near an abandoned warehouse. When we arrived there, we saw that the children were indeed being kept in dark basements, forced to work on dangerous machines.
Labrador and I acted right away. We used our special team, sheriff detectives, to infiltrate the warehouse and neutralize the scammers. We didn't know how many of them were there and weren't sure if we could make it in time, but fortunately, we were prepared. We hid in the shadows and crept up to the main entrance. As soon as we saw the children working under the supervision of two scammers, we decided to act.
One of them even tried to notice us, but I quickly jumped out from behind the corner and detained him. Dobby immediately slapped on the handcuffs. The second scammer tried to run away, but I blocked all the exits, and he couldn't escape. We freed the children, and they immediately ran to the exit. We quickly notified all the parents, and they came to take their children home.
Labrador and I acted right away. We used our special team, sheriff detectives, to infiltrate the warehouse and neutralize the scammers. We didn't know how many of them were there and weren't sure if we could make it in time, but fortunately, we were prepared. We hid in the shadows and crept up to the main entrance. As soon as we saw the children working under the supervision of two scammers, we decided to act.
We've defeated the evil boss Peppa. Now she should start feeling better because this costume had infected her. We'll definitely visit Peppa soon, but for now, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We're off to the next Roblox modes. This living toy wants to catch us. Watch the video until the end to save us. Oh no! Hello, friends! Today, Dobby and I found ourselves in an exciting new Roblox game called Escape the Epic School, OBBY. This school looks simply amazing. Bright walls, beautiful classrooms, and hallways. But as soon as we started moving through the school, we realized that something was wrong.
Hello, everyone! Yes, Labrador, you're right. In this school, all the teachers are animated toys. They've gone haywire and have become real threats. The head teacher is a huge head with a police hat and long arms and legs. He looks terrifying, and just seeing him gives you the chills. But that's not the only danger.
The school is indeed impressive with its beauty. Every classroom and hallway shows attention to detail. At first glance, it seems like the perfect place for learning. But we quickly understood that behind this beauty lies something sinister. The toy teachers, who were supposed to entertain children, now pose a serious threat.
One teacher that stood out was a toy pizza. When we first saw him, he seemed quite funny. But as soon as we got closer, he came to life and started chasing us. We quickly realized he was no joke, but thanks to our experience and teamwork, we managed to escape the danger.
All these teachers were once part of the educational process, but something went wrong, and they became the school's guards. We found out they were created to help children learn, but a system failure caused them to act aggressively. This is especially true for the head teacher, a huge head with long limbs. His appearance is truly frightening.
As we progress through the school, we notice how everything is meticulously detailed. The chemistry classroom has real laboratories, the gym has exercise equipment and basketball hoops. But none of this is for us. We need to find an exit and avoid these animated teachers.
With each passing minute, we become more convinced that this school is not an ordinary place. Everything here is designed to keep us inside. We constantly feel the eyes of these toys on us. They watch our every move, and it makes us uneasy.
Despite all these difficulties, we remain optimistic. We know that together we can overcome any obstacles. We've found ourselves in similar situations before and always found a way out. This time, we are not going to give up either.
Thank you for being with us, friends. Your support means a lot to us. We will keep you updated on all our adventures and hope that together we can escape from this epic school.
Stay with us because there's much more excitement ahead. We are confident that we can overcome all challenges and find a way out of this mysterious school. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and you can leave any comment, and we will respond to it.
We have a story about a school. When Dobby and I received an urgent call to the school, I had no idea what awaited us. Usually, such calls are related to minor incidents, but not this time. We were informed that the teachers had started acting strangely. They were destroying classrooms, tearing up textbooks, and causing complete chaos. It was unimaginable. Dobby and I immediately realized that this was serious and we needed to act quickly. When we arrived at the scene, the students were already trying to calm their teachers, but it was clear that they had completely lost control.
I had never seen anything like it. Imagine a school where instead of the usual learning process, there is complete chaos. Teachers, who were always examples of order and discipline, suddenly became totally unpredictable. They were breaking desks, scattering teaching materials, and seemed to be in some sort of trance. The students, on the other hand, were trying to calm them down, which was surprising. I saw how the older students took on the role of adults, trying to organize and protect the younger ones. Labrador and I immediately started figuring out what could have caused such behavior in the teachers.
We quickly discovered that everything started when a new history teacher appeared at the school. It was said that he brought with him some ancient artifacts that he used for his lessons. One of these artifacts was a strange box with intricate patterns that he showed to the class. It was right after this that all the problems began. The teachers who saw this box immediately started acting aggressively. We decided we needed to find this box and understand what it was. But where to look in such chaos?
We started our search in the history classroom, but it was a complete mess. All the shelves were overturned, books scattered everywhere. Labrador and I decided to split up to find the box faster. I went to the old cabinets while Labrador checked the desks and drawers. We found a map.
We realized that the map was somehow related to the teacher's hypnosis. We needed to quickly find a way to lift this effect. We approached the school principal, who fortunately had not yet been hypnotized. He told us that he had heard legends about such artifacts, and that the only way to remove their influence was to find the key to these symbols.
Labrador and I set out to find the teacher. The trail led us to an old building on the outskirts of town where he was temporarily living. We entered his room and found numerous books and documents related to magic and hypnosis. Among them, we found a diary where he detailed his experiments with the box and the map. It turned out that he had accidentally activated a spell that caused this chaos. The diary also mentioned that to lift the spell, a ritual needed to be performed in the schoolyard using the map and certain words.
We returned to the school with the map and began preparing for the ritual. The students, despite the chaos, helped us as best they could. We explained to them what needed to be done, and together we started the ritual. Dobby lit the candles while I held the map and read the words from the ancient symbols. Suddenly, everything around us was illuminated by a bright light, and the teachers began to come to their senses. It was an incredible sight. The spell was lifted, and the school gradually returned to normal. The teachers became themselves again, and the students showed that they could handle the most difficult situations. You know, guys, there's another story where you'll recognize your school. Usually in schools there are fights or small pranks, but this time the situation was much more serious. The students decided to play a prank and locked all the doors so no one could get out. They stuffed the toilets with shirts and turned on the water, causing a massive flood. Imagine a school turned into a huge aquarium, with water flooding the halls and classrooms. Dobby and I had to act fast to save the school from destruction.
When we arrived, we were met with an incredible sight. Water was flowing out from under the doors, and inside the school, there was total chaos. Students were in panic, some trying to escape by climbing onto desks and tables. The water kept rising, and the situation was becoming more and more dangerous. We knew we had to act quickly, or the school could suffer even more damage. The first thing we did was contact our elephant friends, who could help us absorb all the water.
While we waited for the elephants to arrive, Dobby and I began evacuating the students. We helped the children get out of the classrooms and directed them to the exits. Some doors were blocked by water, and we had to use our strength to break through the flood. Despite their fear, the students tried to help each other. Dobby and I coordinated their actions to avoid panic and injuries. Meanwhile, the water kept rising, and the situation was getting more critical.
When the elephants arrived, we immediately sprang into action. Thanks to their powerful trunks, the elephants began absorbing the water like giant sponges. It was an impressive sight. They worked quickly and in sync, helping us save the school. The water level gradually started to drop, and the panic among the students eased. The elephants did an incredible job, and thanks to them, the situation was brought under control. Labrador and I continued to oversee the evacuation, helping those who were still inside.
Gradually, thanks to the elephants' efforts, the water level began to fall, and we were able to assess the damage. Many classrooms were flooded, furniture was ruined, and educational materials were lost. However, the most important thing was that no one was hurt. The students and teachers were safe, and that was our main goal. We thanked our elephant friends for their help, as we wouldn't have been able to manage without them. Now we had to deal with the aftermath and figure out who exactly was behind the prank.
We started the investigation, interviewing students and teachers. It turned out that a few high school students decided to play this prank and didn't think about the consequences. They realized what they had done and were genuinely remorseful. We had a disciplinary talk with them, explaining how dangerous such pranks could be. It was important not only to punish the guilty, but also to teach them responsibility for their actions.
In the end, the school returned to normal life. We helped organize repairs and restore the damaged property. The students and teachers learned how important it is to be cautious and think about the consequences of their actions. Dobby and I were glad everything ended well and that we managed to prevent a catastrophe in time. This story became a lesson for everyone, showing that even the most innocent-looking pranks can lead to serious consequences.
And that's how this unusual story ended. Once again, we were reminded how important it is to be attentive and responsible, and our elephant friends showed that they are always ready to help in tough times. It's important to remember that together we can tackle any problem, and true strength lies in unity and mutual support.
And don't forget, Despite all these challenges, we still find moments for laughter and joy. The Epic School is just one of the many adventures we're experiencing thanks to you. Your likes and comments are what motivate us to keep going and overcome all difficulties.
Absolutely! So don't worry, we'll be back here to finish this adventure and defeat the main teacher. We'll continue searching for a way out. And of course, we'll make sure to tell you how we managed to do it.
Friends, quickly hit the like button and watch the video until the end so that the evil doll lets me go. What? Where are we, Dobie?
I don't know, but it looks like a children's room with toys everywhere.
Wait, this is something strange. It looks like we've ended up in a room full of evil dolls. Hey everyone, today Dobie and I are trying to escape from the house of evil dolls.
Wow, what's ahead of us? Many scary trials and puzzles. Our goal is not just to get out, but to defeat the evilest doll.
Look at this room. It has a strange atmosphere, kind of like childhood memories.
I agree. We've come back to our childhood, but this is definitely not the place we'd want to be.
It seems like we need to go through this narrow passage. It looks like it leads straight to the house. I hope the doll doesn't start hunting us right away.
We found some candy. I wouldn't try it. Who knows? Maybe she poisoned them. We need to collect 10 of these candies.
Looks like we need to jump here. Let's put that off for now and explore the house. Maybe we'll find something useful.
Here's another candy. Yay! A checkpoint! This means if we die, we can come back here. Look at how much she loves her portraits. Seems like you took your words too literally. It wasn't worth dying just to check. I thought you could go through there. There's another hole ahead. Should we go down? It looks like a place straight from hell, but not exactly.
There's a mountain of dishes here.
For me, a mountain of dishes is real hell.
I hate washing dishes. I actually like it. I turn on my favorite music and sing along. It really lifts my mood.
Strange. Looks like no one's cleaned here in years. Maybe she just buys new dishes instead of washing the old ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can't find another explanation for this mess.
It seems like we still have a long way to go. I can't see the end. These arrows seem hypnotic, like they were made to cause hallucinations.
Did you notice? The floor is like lava, but roses are growing in it. Looks like hallucinations.
I see them too. Nice, we've reached another checkpoint. Seems like the end is near. I hope there's no parkour ahead.
I'm a little tired already. These toys, I feel like there's something sinister about them. Maybe the souls of children are trapped inside.
Brr, creepy. By the way, did you know that the toys in the game Poppy Playtime aren't actually bloody, but a mix of red poppy? I've been studying the plot of this game recently. It's pretty interesting.
No, I didn't know that. I'll have to check it out sometime. But look, we've been tricked. This isn't the end. However, I can see a house in the distance. Looks like we need to head there.
Let's hurry. I even see a Ferris wheel. That looks like an interesting place. I wish the amusement park were near the police station. Hey, Labrador, have you ever thought about candy?
Of course, who doesn't love it? Do you have a favorite candy?
I think my favorites are chocolate candies with nuts. What about you?
I prefer caramel candies. They're so tasty, like sweet music in the middle of the workday.
Sometimes caramel is a real lifesaver. But you know what's better than candy? I don't know. Maybe even more candy.
Just look at her. Why is she sitting there, staring at us and not even greeting us?
It seems like she's pretending to be a lifeless doll, but in reality, she's watching us. That's much creepier.
Maybe we need to find a way to open the gate. Here's a button. We need to press 3 of them. It also says we can hide. Clearly, a dangerous trial awaits us.
Let's go. Look, she's coming down on her long braids. How does she even see anything with those eyes?
Oh no, let's hide quickly. We need to observe her from a safe place.
Let's climb higher. Maybe she won't see us.
Did you see her braids flashing past the room? I would hold my breath.
Let's not forget our main task. We still need to press 2 more buttons.
Good thing we looked around. It's always useful to check everything. There are many rooms here where we can hide, so this trial won't be too hard for us, especially with our experience.
I keep hearing her whispering. It's really unsettling.
The City of Beasts has always been a place where the most unusual events happened. But one of the strangest occurrences took place when the candy monster appeared. It all started when a new candy factory opened in our city. All the residents, especially the children, were thrilled. The factory promised the most delicious and unusual candies. But soon, strange things began to happen. The children complained that the candies started behaving strangely. They seemed to come to life and move. Things got even worse when a real monster, made of sweet treats, broke free from the factory.
This candy monster was terrifying. It was huge, with caramel eyes and lollipop teeth. Every time it stepped on the ground, the sound of cracking candy filled the air, and the atmosphere was filled with a sweet but unpleasant odor. It began to destroy everything in its path. Stores, homes, and even roads. Labrador and I had to intervene urgently. We started investigating what exactly caused the appearance of this monster. We found out that all the candies at the factory were made using experimental ingredients that gave them monstrous power, but also caused unusual mutations.
Dobby and I decided to act quickly. There was no time for a long investigation. We needed to stop the monster urgently. Using our skills and new technology, we managed to find its weak spot. Upon arriving at the factory, we discovered that, despite its terrifying appearance, the monster was actually vulnerable. All the candies that made up the monster were controlled by a single mechanism. We realized that if we disrupted this mechanism, the monster would disappear.
We decided to infiltrate the factory where the monster was created. It was dangerous, as each step could lead to further destruction. But Labrador and I acted swiftly and confidently. Soon, we found the most important part of the factory, a secret storage of the ingredients used to create these living candies. We destroyed the special machine that generated them and immediately began to notice the monster losing its strength. It started to shrink and disappear until it turned into a pile of regular candies.
When the candy monster vanished, the city was once again filled with peace and tranquility. The factory was closed, and all its dangerous ingredients were destroyed. Dobby and I returned to the station, reflecting on how unusual events can affect our city. We realized that sometimes even the most harmless things, like candies, can lead to real catastrophes. But thanks to our teamwork and skills, we managed to stop this threat.
After we defeated the candy monster, our city returned to normal life. Labrador and I understood that it's not only important to solve problems, but also to prevent them, so such disasters don't happen again. The city became safe again, and the children could once again enjoy their sweets without fear. But we always remembered this incident because, as strange as it sounds, candies might not be as harmless as they seem.
In our city of beasts, there has always been no shortage of unexpected events, but one day something truly unusual happened. It all began the day the circus came to town. Among the many attractions and shows was a huge toy store. All the little animals eagerly went there to pick out new toys. But by evening, Dobby and I received a strange call. A mysterious virus had infected the toy store, causing all the dolls in the shop to come to life. They began to move and speak, and some of them became aggressive, causing panic among the children and parents.
When we arrived at the scene, the situation was already under control, but the tension in the air was palpable. We saw the dolls in the shop's windows one by one, standing up and crawling out. Some of them looked friendly, but others, not so much. They started marching through the city, scaring the residents. It was clear that this virus, which had infected the toys, was far more serious than we had thought. Instead of delighting children, the dolls had become a threat to the whole community. Labrador and I immediately began our investigation.
It turned out that the virus that turned the toys into living beings was the result of an experiment by a scientist who once worked with circus dolls, trying to create robots that could mimic living creatures. He had accidentally created something that developed self-awareness. These dolls were no longer just toys. They began to think and make decisions. Some of them didn't like being mere toys for children, and they decided they needed more freedom.
Realizing that we were up against not just ordinary toys, but sentient beings, Labrador and I decided to proceed with caution. We started tracking the dolls' every movement, but they were too fast and agile. We needed to find a way to stop the virus that had brought them to life, or else they could take over the entire city. We set up special equipment to investigate how the virus worked, and soon discovered its source, a strange control panel hidden at the center of the toy store.
We quickly infiltrated the store, and with the help of special devices, we disabled the control panel. But, unfortunately, the virus had already spread so much that even without a control source, the dolls kept moving. However, when we activated the program to neutralize the virus, the dolls began to slow down and eventually stopped altogether. It felt like a miracle, but we knew that it wasn't just about defeating these animated toys. We also needed to figure out how to prevent similar incidents in the future.
Once all the dolls had returned to being just toys, Labrador and I went back to the station to assess the damage and analyze how we could prevent such situations. We realized that even the most harmless things, like dolls, can lead to big problems if they're not properly controlled. But the most important thing was that we had prevented a disaster and restored safety to the city.
That's it, friends. We finally defeated the evil doll queen. This battle was a real challenge. See you soon, friends. Save us, friends! Watch the video until the end so we can escape from here. Hello, everyone. So, are you ready to defeat all these running heads? Today, we're going to escape from the running head.
Yes, hey guys, but this won't be easy because there are tough challenges ahead. Please give us a like. It will really help us. And watch until the end so we can defeat everyone.
Exactly, Dobie. But since we're sheriffs, nothing will scare us. Except, well, I'll tell you about that at the end, because everyone has their secrets.
Look, the first running head, but it's very slow, so we can ignore it. Ah, this is easy. But what's ahead of us?
Don't lose vigilance. There might be a lot of traps around.
This maze is simple. There's no ceiling, so we can peek and see where to go.
Great. Behind this barrier, they won't catch us.
I want to see how smart they are.
That was risky, but I love taking risks too. It's part of our job.
Yes, the key is always to plan your actions and have a backup plan for unexpected situations.
Look, they're getting closer. We need to stay alert.
They move strangely and are now stuck together. It looks like they're kissing. Weird.
I can't even imagine how they walk without legs.
Look, a giant head is blocking the way to the finish. We need to find a way to bypass it.
I see. This looks like a focus test. We took these when we became sheriffs.
There are 3 heads in a narrow passage. We'll have to use parkour skills.
Oh no, they're kissing again. Let's turn away so we don't get distracted. Maybe they're doing this on purpose to confuse us.
It looks like that giant head, but fortunately, it's slow and not very smart. We'll easily outsmart it.
Seems like we're close to the end of the first stage. It's just around the corner. Oh, there was a trap here. That's what happens when you lose focus. But since we're not on a mission, it's not scary. Play for fun, guys. You're right. This ladder leads to the portal to the next stage. Let's go.
Looks like we're in some wooden house. There are 2 doors. Let's go left.
He's standing with his back to us, though he doesn't have a back. I think he's facing us.
We need to slip through quickly while he's distracted by the other hole in the wall.
He's standing with his back to us, though he doesn't have a back. I think he's facing us. I don't even know. Oh, I wanted to say that I don't know where to go. Why is he standing? This is unpredictable.
I think this is designed to scare us. Where to go? I'm not sure. Since the monitor can't emit smells, we can't rely on instincts, so we're going blindly. The key is not to turn around so we don't end up back at the start.
Great. We've reached the checkpoint. We're halfway through the maze. Checkpoints aren't placed for no reason. There may be danger ahead.
Oh, let's quickly slip through the gap before that head wakes up. Another checkpoint, great.
This is a new element of the challenge. We need to turn at the right time so the head doesn't catch us in its mouth.
Oh my God, we got distracted and missed the turn. It's okay. We got the point and we'll quickly go back. Remember, Lab, when we used to play horror games as kids?
Of course, those evenings with popcorn and the old computer. We cursed that creepy monastery so many times.
I wonder how that influenced our work now.
I think it taught us not to panic in the dark. Remember when we first faced that case in the abandoned mine?
Yes, all those sounds and rustling. It felt like something out of an old game.
But thanks to our childhood obsession, we stayed calm and figured it out. No mysticism, just work.
And strangely, it still helps us. I'm glad we spent those horror-filled evenings together.
Me too, Dobie. In our world, every day feels like a horror movie, but we're always ready.
We're on stage 3. Let's keep going. Looks like another maze.
I hope it will be more interesting and challenging. The first one was boring.
It was just preparing us. There are many new mobs at this level. They scared me. Terrifying.
An amazing story took place in our animal town. One that began with very strange events. It all started when we noticed a strange glow in the sky. It didn't look like a regular meteor, and we immediately realized that something was happening. Soon, much to our surprise, aliens appeared from this glow. They were quite unusual. Imagine, they looked like running heads from a Roblox game. These creatures wore bright costumes and were full of enthusiasm.
When they landed, they declared that they didn't come to harm our city, but to become our fans. They loved everything related to our adventures, our city, and they even started copying us, recording our actions and movements just in case. We thought it was just a joke, but when they began setting up fan clubs and running ads about us on their planet, we realized something was wrong.
And that's when the most interesting part began. The aliens told us that they weren't just fans, but that they actually wanted to take over our city and turn it into their fan zone. They were ready to build monuments, organize festivals, and take all of us to their planet to make us symbols of their culture. But that wouldn't be very convenient for us, right? We like our city here, and we weren't planning to move to some foreign place that doesn't suit us.
And so, when we realized that the aliens were seriously determined, we decided to take action. You can't just stop them because they weren't just huge fans, they were also very powerful beings. We needed to come up with something special. And then, Labrador and I came up with a brilliant idea. We decided to create our clones and send them to the alien planet. The clones would essentially be our doubles, entertaining the aliens and showing them that our place on Earth is our home, not their planet.
We turned to our best engineers and inventors, and they helped us create unique cloning devices. With this technology, we created several copies of ourselves, identical to us, but of course, without our memories and personal lives. We sent them to the alien planet. The clones began to work for the aliens, entertaining them and showing them how to properly set up a fan club and, most importantly, how to live in peace and harmony.
When the aliens saw these doubles, they were so amazed that they couldn't believe their eyes. Our clones did everything they were asked to do, and even more. Soon, the aliens realized that their love for our city didn't need to be so obsessive. They understood that we love our city and want to stay here with our friends and family.
In the end, the aliens agreed that our city would stay on Earth and they would return to their planet. We offered them to stay as our friends, not fans, but real friends. As a token of gratitude, they gave us some interesting technologies and promised not to interfere in our affairs anymore. They even built a fan zone for themselves, where they could read about our city and follow our adventures without disturbing us.
And so, the animal city was safe again, and the aliens no longer tried to take us over. Everything ended peacefully, and we all returned to our usual activities. We learned that it's important to respect each other's boundaries, even if someone adores you. And the clones who helped us buy time went down in history as our loyal helpers.
We're going to tell you a story that happened in our town. It all started with rumors. Someone had settled in the forest not far from the town, and everything that people brought there was disappearing. At first, small things, then bigger items. The townspeople started to panic, but Dobie and I decided that it was probably just a rumor. After all, there's always an explanation for everything.
But when Mr. Bobby's toys disappeared, we realized we needed to act. I wasn't too scared, but something wasn't right. Labrador and I decided to check the forest, even though we didn't believe in the supernatural. As soon as we approached the forest, I felt that something strange was going on. It was eerily quiet, and suddenly I heard a strange sound, like something moving on the ground. And then, from the shadows, a strange figure emerged.
I was ready for anything, but this was something I wasn't expecting. The shadow was tall with long arms, and its eyes glowed like two fires in the night. Dobie and I froze, and it was clear that this wasn't an ordinary creature. We started moving forward, but everything around us seemed wrong. The forest became unnaturally silent, and there were no rustling leaves, no sounds from the animals. We soon reached the center of the forest, where there was a strange tree, and that's where everything had been happening.
Under the tree, we found a strange hole. Inside was an old book. Everything around was covered in dust, and the pages of the book were charred. We realized that this wasn't just any book, but an ancient artifact linked to dark forces. Inside were descriptions of rituals that allowed the opening of gateways between worlds. And that's when we understood that something dark was beginning to seep into our world.
Suddenly, we heard that same rustling sound again. Something was moving in our direction. It was the same shadow. We couldn't wait any longer. Grabbing the book, we began to read aloud, trying to find a way to stop it. At that moment, the shadow started approaching at incredible speed, but there was no turning back. We began to chant the incantation, and right before us, the light started to dim, and then the shadow disappeared.
The darkness that had enveloped the forest began to dissipate. When we returned to the town, the townspeople were in shock over what had happened. but we calmed them down. The forest was quiet again, but we knew we had to stay prepared. We don't fully understand what we encountered, but one thing was clear. The danger was real.
Well, friends, our battle with that huge running head is over. But that's not all. Soon we'll tackle the next parts. This was a real challenge, and I'm sure we were lucky to find the exit in time. Just look at this massive chaos it left behind.
Yes, Labrador, it was a real nightmare. The entire map was full of traps, and we barely managed to escape from it. But in the end, we showed that we're not afraid of such challenges. Even though the head was constantly chasing us, we found the strength and bravely overcame all the obstacles.
Hello, friends. Today, Dobie and I have a new mission. We entered the game Roblox and found ourselves in a school. But this is no ordinary school. It has been taken over by an evil gym teacher. There are no more lessons, no students, only silence and chaos. We must stop him and restore order.
I can already see that the situation is serious. Desks are overturned, textbooks are scattered on the floor, lockers are open, and at the end of the hallway, there's a huge banner. Here, PE rules. Labrador, it looks like this teacher has turned the school into his personal gym. We need to act fast before things get worse.
We move forward, but the school seems to come alive. The doors behind us slam shut, and now there's no way out. The only path is forward. I can feel that the teacher is nearby. He's definitely watching us. We need to be ready for any traps.
The hallways look strange. Some walls are crooked, staircases lead to nowhere, and the old school clocks are frozen at the same time. Something is definitely wrong. We carefully make our way forward, staying alert. Soon we'll have to face his challenges, but we won't back down.
We enter the first classroom. Everything is upside down. The board is broken, desks are piled up, and even the posters on the walls warn, "Run faster, or you'll stay here forever." This is clearly not just a school, but we are sheriffs, and our job is to save this world.
Getting through this class wasn't easy, but we managed. Beyond it, we found a long hallway leading to the gym. I can already hear the sound of heavy footsteps. The gym teacher is nearby. He doesn't want us to reach him, which means we're on the right track.
The walls are covered with certificates of athletic achievements, but they are scribbled with strange words. The weak do not survive. PE is power. This teacher has gone too far. We need to stop him before the school turns into a nightmare from which no one can escape.
We approach the gym doors. They are massive, made of iron, with the words, "Only the strongest may enter." Behind them awaits the main villain of this school, the teacher himself. It's time for the final showdown.
The doors burst open with a loud crash, and we find ourselves in a massive gym. Old benches line the walls. Rules of training are scribbled everywhere, and in the center stands him. Huge, wearing a tracksuit with a menacing glare. He crosses his arms and smirks at us.
This teacher looks intimidating, but we won't be scared so easily. He clearly wants to test our strength. He's strong and fast, but we're no amateurs either. The key is to stick together, stay calm, and find his weaknesses.
The battle begins. The gym teacher moves fast, but we dodge his attacks. Every step we take brings us closer to victory. He tries to corner us, but we find a way out and keep fighting.
The fight is intense. The teacher throws sports equipment at us, but we skillfully avoid all obstacles. He's not as confident as he was at the start. His energy is draining, but we don't give up. Just a little more, and the school will be free.
And now the final push. The teacher is defeated. He admits his loss and vanishes. The school is under our control again, and now students can return. We did it, Dobie.
Yes, Labrador, this mission wasn't easy, but we did it! Evil has been defeated, the school is saved, and order has been restored. We proved that no one can take over the school as long as the sheriffs are on duty. Great job!
Today, I'm going to tell you a story that started as a routine call but turned into a true test for me and Officer Dobie. It was a day we would never forget. It all began with a distressing call from worried parents. They said their children were staying late at school, and those who did leave looked completely exhausted. We immediately set off to investigate. The school looked strange. The windows were covered with curtains, the yard was empty, and the doors were locked. It seemed like no one was inside, but as soon as we tried to open the door, a loud, commanding voice echoed from the school's intercom.
I recognized that voice instantly. It was Coach Bully, the local gym teacher. He had always been strict, but no one expected him to go this far. His voice echoed through the halls. He declared that the school now belonged to him and that all students had to undergo a real training course. Those who failed the trials would stay in the school forever. He challenged us to prove our strength as well. Labrador and I exchanged glances. Backing down was not in our nature. The moment we stepped forward, iron gates slammed shut behind us. A screen on the wall lit up. Our first challenge was waiting.
We found ourselves in the gymnasium. In front of us was a long path with dozens of rubber balls flying across it at high speed. A single hit could send us tumbling back to the start. We started moving. I ducked as a ball whizzed past just inches from my head. Dobie dodged skillfully, but one ball clipped his side. He stumbled but quickly recovered. We realized that running straight through was a bad idea. We needed to use the equipment as cover. I signaled to Dobie, and we began moving in short bursts, using every column and bench for protection.
The balls kept coming, but we were faster. At the last moment, we leapt behind a wall that led to the next room. The moment we crossed the line, the ball stopped. The first trial was over, but there was no time to celebrate. Ahead of us, the schoolyard doors opened, revealing our next challenge.
On the school's running track, we faced our next test. Hanging from the ceiling were heavy weights, tied to ropes. The rule was simple. If you stopped or slowed down, the weights would drop on you. Coach Bully announced that we had exactly 5 minutes to complete 3 laps. We took off running. The first few meters were easy, but then the weights started swinging, creating new obstacles.
We sped up, trying to predict their movements. I felt one of the weights pass just inches from my back. Labrador barely dodged another. The final lap was the hardest. The weights were falling twice as fast, and we were running on sheer determination. Just as I was about to get caught, Labrador lunged forward and grabbed me by the scruff, pulling me out of danger. We tumbled across the finish line, and the weights came to a halt. Waiting ahead was Coach Bully himself.
We entered the main hall. Coach Bully stood in the center, surrounded by students. He was massive and muscular, and in his hands, he held a whistle, clearly not an ordinary one. He declared that this was the final trial. If we defeated him in a fair fight, the school would be free. If we lost, we would stay there forever.
His whistle turned out to be a weapon. The moment he blew into it, the sound wave hit us so hard that we nearly collapsed. We realized we had to take it from him. I dashed to the side, drawing his attention. Labrador seized the opportunity and lunged forward, knocking the whistle from Bully's hands. The coach roared in anger, but it was too late. Without his whistle, he lost his main advantage.
We used his size against him. As he charged at us, I positioned a gym mat under him, making him lose his balance. Dobie swept his legs out from under him, and Bully crashed to the floor. The students, seeing their greatest fear defeated, stood up to him. They surrounded him and declared that they would no longer obey his rule.
When it was over, the school doors opened and the children ran to freedom. We announced that the school was once again under the protection of the law. Coach Bully was sent for rehabilitation. From now on, PE class would be a place of fun, not fear.
That day taught us a valuable lesson. Victory isn't just about strength, it's about strategy, courage, and teamwork. We saved the school, and now we know, together, no villain stands a chance against us. That day, the world changed. Strange signals began to come from space. At first, we thought it was just static, but soon it became clear. It was a call from aliens. The sky was filled with lights, and we realized we had to act. Dobie and I immediately decided to get to the bottom of this.
Exactly, Labrador. As the signals became more frequent, we began to prepare. The aliens didn't just arrive. They were clearly planning something. We understood that we needed to be ready for anything. At first, they just observed, but soon they began to intensify their actions. We started losing contact with the outside world.
Realizing that we were being influenced, we immediately began constructing antennas to intercept their signals. Each message from them became more and more complex. I never imagined I'd face something like this. We had to figure out what they wanted from us.
When we started decrypting their messages, it became clear. They were preparing for an invasion. We needed to find a way to stop them. At first, we tried negotiating, but they didn't respond. The aliens only strengthened their signals.
Our team developed a special device to block their signals. But as it turned out, that was just the beginning. When we started preparing for the final attack, the aliens began manipulating people, trying to break their will. We knew we had to act fast.
So we created an impulse generator that could destroy their connection. But it was risky. We knew that one mistake and everything could be lost. Nevertheless, we couldn't give up. We pressed the button and the generator started working.
When the generator activated, the aliens began to lose connection. Their ship slowed down, and we felt we had a chance. But it wasn't that simple. They started emitting energy waves, trying to destroy our generator. We had to strengthen the signal.
We connected additional devices. At the last moment, Labrador activated the final impulse that completely shut down the aliens. Their ships began to disintegrate, and the lights in the sky vanished. We won!
The world was saved, but we knew we couldn't relax. This victory taught us to be ready for anything. Dobie and I know that there could be other threats on Earth, and we'll be ready.
Yes, and the most important thing, we realized that together we can face any challenge. This experience became our lesson. We will stand guard over peace, ready to confront any threat.